All right, let's get started. So, you guys want some magic? The hardest thing to do in all of martial arts, ask anybody, Olympic wrestlers, Olympic judoka, MMA fighters, is to take somebody down who just doesn't want to be taken down. It doesn't even matter if they have experience or not. Obviously the more experience they have, the more experience you have when you're fighting in the cage or on the mats or whatever else, and obviously it's a little more difficult. But even somebody who just comes off the street that's big and strong, that, you know, whether they have some athletic ability or none, and they just do not want to be taken down, it's just very, very difficult. However, you also got to remember that only about 1% of the entire population actually has any training. And so if you have superior technique, right, to somebody who has no technique, it really doesn't matter, right, if they are stronger, if they're bigger, right? And that's the whole point of all of judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, right, is to use your leverage, to use your technique to number one, knock them off balance, number two, execute some sort of takedown, throw, or whatnot, and then three, to obviously follow through and finish the fight or whatever you're doing, all right? So the big secret, which is not really a big secret, is that there's 8 directions, right? And it's like this for anything, right? Whether it's striking, knife fighting, boxing, judo, wrestling, there's 8 directions, right, that somebody's body can go. You have no idea where they're going to go unless you put them there or they are reacting to whatever you just did to them. Now, there's a big misconception that if I hit Garrett in the face, that he's going to automatically go to that direction, right? Me depending on that happening is ridiculous, because if I hit Garrett, right, and he slips the punch, or he's just really tough and he ducks his head down and he just counterpunches me, right? I can't depend on that. However, I know that if I put my hands on him and break his balance to that direction, that he's going to go to that direction, and to regain his balance, he's going to have to come back to this direction. Therefore, right, I can now change my technique to make my life easier, and that's really the magic of takedowns, right? Is you break balance. If they regain balance, you take them to that way. If they maintain the area of balance that you just broke, you take them down that way. That's a whole lot of words, and in application, it absolutely is difficult. And the whole point of what I want to show you guys for all these movements is that there's always a more effective way to do things, right? A more efficient way, I think, is the best way. Something I've learned pretty recently is that one of the 2 big secrets to fighting is, number one, obviously practice and superior technique, right? More efficient movements, right? Make sure, because you know what, we can't stop the clock. As you get older, right, you have to know your techniques, and you have to eliminate ones that take too much energy. And then number 2, it's definitely helpful when you know what the other guy's going to do, right? So you can counter that. So in all of fighting, again, grappling, striking, whatever else, something that is just a good rule of thumb that makes life ultimately easier is to always step offline, right? Whether you're circling in boxing, right, because you don't want to get backed up, right? Whether you're circling in judo or MMA, because you don't want to get back out of bounds or against the cage, right, or against the wall. It's just a good rule of thumb to always do, and believe it or not, it's a lot easier for me, if Garrett's standing straight, it's a lot easier for me to get Garrett off balance to more efficient directions for easier takedowns if I'm on a 45-degree angle, right, where I'm offline, or, right, 90-degree angle, or 135. Obviously, you know, 180 is still, believe it or not, more difficult than here, here, or here, right? The problem with most grappling is that everybody's always starting fighting from here, right? There's no angles. For me to break Garrett's balance right now, I actually have to be stronger than him to push him off to these 2 directions, right? Or I have to surprise him somehow to get him to go that way, or I have to depend on his reaction to come back this way, right? It's just too much effort. It's just too much work, right? It's just a lot easier for me to somehow tactically to get to this 45-degree angle, right? So let's start with just something very basic. This is basic, almost Olympic Judo gripping 101. It's feeding the elbow, right? So when the guy grabs this, you can grab underneath the sleeve. This material is all nice and tight. You rip it back, right? It's very difficult for him to hold on, and you slide to that 45, right? Very, very simple, right? If his hands are up and you're ready to fight, if you're fighting anybody who has training, right? If I move here, he's gonna move there, right? So that's not very efficient. Now again, that's only the 1%. If you're fighting somebody who has no idea what they're doing and they're just standing there and they're all talking tough, whatever else, all you do is step to the side and boom, you have just everything open. That being said, you don't know if this person has training. You just don't know, right? So we're gonna do this again. Grab off, rip back, step to the side, right? That works well if you have a gi. What if you don't have a gi, right? The cross grab is very exact same thing, right? Whether you cross grab here, whether your hands are up and you cross grab here, this is the big thing that you have to remember. You're not pulling him, even though you technically are mechanically pulling him over here, because he's going to be pulling back. He doesn't want to be pulled over here. So when he pulls back, you're stepping off to that 45 degree, right? The same thing with a wrestling arm drag, right? When you pull this way, he's pulling back and it slides you over here, right? Same thing with catch wrestling arm whirl, where you're up top and you're trying to whirl him, he pulls back, you go to your 45, all right? Very simple. Obviously it works both sides, but you don't need to show that. So the idea is that when you're on the 45 angle, again, is that direction, this direction, and this direction are ridiculously open. It's very easy for you to slide in, for you to drop down, for you to take down, right? And that's what we're going to work on today. So it doesn't really matter how you get in here. Again, whether it's arm drag, arm grab, elbow. We'll start with just the elbow just because it's just a good way to train. Pull back, step. All right. The easiest takedown from this position is called Tani, just a valley drop, right? And it's basically from this direction, you're going to continue moving and you're just going to step behind it. That's all it is. All right. 1, 2, pull in, step. You want to do it off an arm drag. Wait for him to pull, boom. He pulls you right to that position. His hands are up, right? When you're fighting, you can actually go in and do it, right? If you do it with a cross wrist grab and you pull, he's going to pull you back, boom. This is what I want everybody to understand. This is the reason why we're doing this. How can he hit me in the face with that other hand, right? If I'm over here, right? At the very worst, all I got to do is grab here, right? Or just even tuck it, doesn't really matter, right? Get to the side, 1 foot behind it, okay? Right, I'll cross grab, arm drag. If you're gonna cross grab, again, it's always sometimes better. They don't really expect when you come across like this, they have no gi. So pull, when they pull you back, they're gonna carry you here. This is the position, right? He, right now, even though he's leaning a little bit forward, I feel his hips. And this is another thing, why it's important to be training. I can feel his hips where the balance point is broken. In reality, we're going to be dancing around a little, right? But that's not conducive to showing somebody techniques. We'll do it from static for now. What we're going to do is we have 1 leg behind, 1 leg here. We're just going to, just like we're doing a stretch, we're just going to drop down, put this foot behind, and let our body, not our arms, not our legs, literally our arms are just chains attached to him. And we're just going to sit on our butt, boom, right? Now this is another important part that a lot of people, even very, very experienced grapplers miss. When you drop somebody, it's not enough for me to just come on my knees and try to get on top of him, because the minute I do that, he can stick this knee in between us, and I got problems, right? What you need to do when you drop is very much like breaking balance. You need to push, get up, and then pull. Start that one more time. Right. So takedown number 1 is Tani touch. Cross grab, arm drag, doesn't matter. His hands are up. 1, 2, 3. Drop, push, pull. Get on top. All right. So now.
More.
Okay. So whether we're fighting, right, or we're grip fighting, or we're doing whatever else, or he's just standing there and he's defending himself against me attacking him, cross grab, grab myself in, push, pull. Right? Now I have everything open that I want.